Hey everyone, Wayne here, and welcome to Wandering Hexes. In today's video, I'm going to mix things up a little bit. Instead of covering actual games, what I want to look at are some of the adjacent hobbies, some of the things that, if you're like me, and you're a geek like me, let's be honest, that interest you. And so today's video, I'm going to look at gaming comics, or gaming-related comics. So these are ones that, as a gamer, I really enjoy. Whether they're their own fantasy world or they're actually focused on people who are gaming in the comic, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're in for a real treat. Whatever the case is, I find these really enjoyable and I want to share that interest with you. So let's get on the table. Let's go ahead and look at a few of the comics I think are awesome for gamers. All right, we're down at the table. Now let's take a look at 3 different comics that I absolutely have loved. Either they're ongoing or they're sort of more one-offs. Either way, something I've really enjoyed that I feel like you guys as fellow gamers would also enjoy. And no, by the way, despite my Batman shirt at the beginning, it's not going to be any sort of DC or Marvel type comics. These are a little bit more smaller scale, smaller publisher comics. I think that's enough of an intro. Let's go ahead and get to the first comic. All right, first off, let's look at Crusader by Matt Emmons and Andre Lucan and published by Mad Cave Comics. Crusader is going to take my love of history and my love of fantasy worlds and mash them together into a crazy story with really wonderful artwork and just something that, although this is a one-off, this is a trade paperback collection of 4 comics, I really wish they would do more of, and I hope they'll do more of. It's never too late, right? All right, Crusader. So what are we looking at here? And of course, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers, but there may be some, guys, so just FYI. All right. A nameless Templar knight from the Third Crusade finds himself magically transported to a mysterious world filled with sorcery and monsters. In order to survive, the ferocious Crusader must reevaluate his penance for violent righteousness and make peace with both himself and this ruthless world. But will peace be enough to stop the deathless, power-hungry ghoul, known only as the Pilgrim? Collects issues 1 through 4. All right, look at that cover artwork. Really like that. Open her up, and we'll just look at a little bit of it just to show it off, give you guys an idea. Look at that. Beautiful. Really love the theme there. And the artwork, I really enjoy it. It's got a little bit more stylized than sometimes I enjoy. Sometimes I like more of a, I don't even know what you would call that, sort of a traditional fantasy, realistic. This is a little, maybe one step away from that, but I definitely enjoy it in this comic and in this story. So like I said, Matt Emmons, writer, artist, and colorist. Andre Lucan is a letterer, James Emmett, editor, and Diana Bermudez, book designer. Chapter 1. So it is, it's going to be 4 comics in one, so it tells a complete story, a complete arc. Acre, 1291. The rule of Templar Knights is simple. Never retreat in battle under pain of mortal sin. Never retreat in battle under pain of mortal sin. So when he's, and I'm not going to leaf through the whole thing, guys, don't worry. I'm not going to do that to you guys. Also, I want you guys to be able to enjoy it if you do pick it up yourself. But in this journey, right, so he has sort of his religious convictions, and they don't leave him. But when he starts off, he's maybe more of the ruthless style knight, right? A little bit more the caricature of a knight. But again, we are talking about a comic here, and we're talking about sort of, combining art forms, history with perhaps teaching a lesson and giving him some humility and giving him some perspective in life. When he's transported to the fantasy world, so from the, actual historical siege of Acre, sort of the last stand of the Templars, last stand of Christendom in the Crusader states in the Holy Lands. He is transported to the magical time, a magical world, and he actually is no longer able to remove his helmet. So you can see here, he gets transported back. He's fighting, so so this is still in Acre, but basically sort of a evil, human sacrifice is being done by offshoot order of the Templar Knights. You can see how he's transported here, yelling no, and he's transported through to this magical world. Here you can see these orcs or these goblins here, and he's going to have to fight them off. And eventually he is joined by a companion. You get to see the companion. Should be very shortly. There he is. There's this attractive little fella who's going to be sort of his guide and his little sidekick through his journey here. And he can't take his helmet off, but he's going to be learning lessons, exploring this fantasy world, and having to deal with the pilgrim, who's going to have to fight several times throughout the comic. So anyway, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to say anything more. Really enjoy this one. Crusader from Mad Cave Comics. That's number 1. We got 2 more to go. All right, number 2 is Nottingham, also from Mad Cave Comics. The third will not be from them, but they've published several that I really enjoy, and I love the stories of Robin Hood. This is going to be brutal and realistic with a sort of sadistic bent, a very pessimistic bent look at humanity, which at times I didn't enjoy. I try to occasionally be an optimist in life, but overall, just a fantastic sort of brutal version of Nottingham, of Robin Hood, where there's really no real good guy. The closest good guy is actually the sheriff of Nottingham. All right, so this is an omnibus, so this collects a whole bunch of comics. I think it's something like 15 comics along with some additional work. The artwork style, very sort of that brutal, realistic. I don't even think realistic is probably not the term I should use for it. Just sort of a brutal, dark sort of look. In this gritty, twisted, medieval noir, the Sheriff of Nottingham wages a brutal war on crime, corruption, and rebellion across the 15 blood-soaked chapters. So basically, I think it was 15 comics worth. As he hunts killers, uncovers conspiracies, and clashes with the Merry Men, led by the mysterious and dangerous Hood, the sheriff finds himself caught between England's most ruthless power brokers and the outlaws of Sherwood Forest. No one is innocent, and loyalty is a weapon in a land ruled by fear, secrets, and steel. So this will have Nottingham volumes 1 through 3, which is 1 through 15, Tales from Nottingham 1 through 6, A Very Merry Christmas, and The Witch of Winter Hill, short from the Tales from the Cave. You can see, so I've read through the entire main, sort of the 1 through 3 volumes, the 1 through 15, the main story, and then I believe it's going into maybe the Christmas one, and so I haven't read that yet because we're in the middle of summer right now, and I don't feel it, but in my heart, when I'm ready, I will do that. All right. Nottingham. Who does not? And there's a sheriff himself. So you can see sort of that dark stylized, really his black eyes, black hair, wears dark. David Hazan, writer. Shane Connery Volk is artist. I'm not going to read everybody here, but you can see different writers, artists, colorists, and letters. So quite a few people involved in this production, involved in this. There is a member of the Merry Men here. So they wear these masks. So you can see the masks they wear, stylized with the blood, showing what is happening. Loxley, 1192 CE. What's the common era again? Oh, that's right, AD. All right, 3 weeks ago, England is sick, infected with greed and immortality. We are the cure. We are the merry men. We steal from the rich. We give to the poor. So this is not, this isn't the Disney. This isn't the Disney Robin Hood. This is a very, very serious sort of tale that has lessons that, again, it's a little on the pessimistic side overall, right? Everyone's a bad guy. There's no real good people. I'd like to argue that there's some good in people out there. I have seen it myself. I've seen some bad, but I've seen a lot of good too. But overall, when you look at that story, it's just a fascinating story. And I really enjoyed the artwork, even though traditionally, kind of like the Crusader, it's not necessarily always what I would look at for my artwork. I enjoyed it in this story. There's the sheriff himself showing up to start investigating the ambush of this caravan. I believe it was tax collecting caravan, some tax collectors. Of course, the Merry Men would take umbrage with them. Castle Nottingham, you get the idea. Oh, just so many excellent stories here, all built up to the full, the 15 chapters, just an entire story by itself. It's just a massive story here of just all kinds of goodness. Oh, definitely recommend this one. I don't want to go too much more into it again. I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, you get the idea of the story. It's going to be some twists and turns. We're going to travel to France. We're going to see King Richard. We're going to travel flashbacks to the Holy Land. Sheriff Nottingham when he was fighting in the Holy Land during the Crusades. I guess I do like that era, huh? That sort of medieval era. I like ancients, medieval, when it comes to history. Many eras in history, just to be perfectly honest. So Nottingham from Mad Cave Comics, again, just like Crusader. Highly recommended if you want that dark, you don't mind some pessimism in at least a comic in these stories. Again, every now and then I caught myself going, I don't know if I agree with that. But hey, you don't always agree with everything you read in a story. You don't always agree with everything that happens in life, right? So just as a gamer, though, oh man, seeing that sheriff, especially that twist on the sheriff of Nottingham and the twist on Robin Hood, really enjoyable. Oh, there's Lady Marion. So yeah, she's no real lady in this one. Let's just say that. So, all right, that's number 2 is Nottingham. Let's go into my third and final recommendation. My third and final recommendation for gamers who are interested in comics, interested in something that's just a little different than the usual, Knights of the Dinner Table. Oh my God, one of the longest ongoing comic books, still making them. Written and illustrated by Jolly Blackburn, yes, that's his real name, and published by Kenzer and Company. So really, at its core, it sort of has been this Knights of Dinner Table comic, which is about these group of gamers that are playing Hackmaster, which has been turned into a real RPG at this point, but very much a knockoff of old school Dungeons and Dragons, right? And they have all kinds of crazy hijinks in game and out of game. They are stereotypes or caricatures, but at the same time, over the years, they have been developed into a little more realistic people. They've had character arcs, they've had story arcs. It's something like 320 some issues now, but don't worry, you can dive in a variety of different ways. That's what I wanted to look at. So first off, they've been releasing comics in this format called the Bundle of Trouble. So volume 1 here, and I have like, I don't even know what it is, 40 of them, 70 of them, whatever it is, there's up to now. And starting with issue 1, 2, and 3. And let's go ahead and look at it, and the artwork is just not great, and it is part of the charm. Trust me, it is about the story. This is something where you are looking at old school, again, sort of D&D vibe, D&D feeling. Lair of the Gazebo, when they attacked the gazebo. I mean, just a classic sort of story in their sense, in this world. Again, I've been a fan now for I think decades. So originally this started in the early 90s, but again, you can buy them, you can get PDFs, you can purchase PDFs from them, you can get them in these collections like Bundle of Trouble, where you can work your way from the very beginning on. So you have BA, you got Bob, you got Dave, you got Brian, and then later on at the very beginning, it's just those 4 fellas. Almost said gentlemen, but I don't know if I'd call them gentlemen. Later on, Sarah, BA's cousin, joins them. Just give a little different perspective. Just hijinks and craziness all around as they work their way through their worlds of BA as the DM. All right, so you have all the Bundles of Trouble you can get into it with, or there is a new release. I believe it came out the same time as this Codex of Many Tales. So we'll look at Critical Hits here, a compilation of the Knight's greatest stories. Ooh, signed. What do you know? Look at that. Hey, it came from the Kickstarter. I don't mind using it. Hey, comic books and these books are meant to be read. So basically, this is, when I talked about Lyric of the Gazebo, right? This is when we just saw the initial Bundle of Trouble here, Volume 1. This is just going to be a collection of stories. You can see the different comic strips, just giving you different perspectives along the years and tell what they come from. KODT issue number 1 in 1994, issue number 5, issue 150, 173, all over the place. You're getting just the hits, right? The critical hits, if you will, of the stories of these guys having their fantasy, and then they play other games too. That's a great thing too. It's like they're just role players, and so that you get a perspective to kind of laugh at them, and then sometimes with them, and you can safely do that and just enjoy what they're doing. And it's again the very sort of rough, almost amateurish art, and you really see that in some of the early ones that haven't been touched up. It just adds to the story. Trust me, it just adds to the theme, adds to the fun of it, the feeling of everything. And here's Johnny. Johnny is an old member of the group they had for a little while. So anyway, that's another great way to enter Knights of the Dinner Table. Check it out. And just sort of last, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it as a way to get into it, but just sort of something cool that was part of that Kickstarter is the Codex of Many Tales, issues 1 through 25. It's this hardcover here. Hey, what do you know? Like I said, signed. Yay! And it has the different comics introduction. You get to see sort of the covers, and then they'll have a lot of text on the bottom here. That's what's the cool thing about this. So you're reading through, you can reread the same comics and same stories that someone like me who's been a fan for years knows, but you get to see, some behind the scenes information along the way. Just some fun stuff. And you just, get everything in a row anyway, and you get in a nice hardcover if you want something like that. So look at that. Look at all this. Look at all this gaming. Look at all this comic goodness here. So much stuff. Patrons of the Tomb. Look at that. Very cool. Hey, Wayne Hansen. There I am, right there. Anyway, so that's my last recommendation. Knights of the Dinner Table. A bunch of role-playing nerds, right? Geeks, if you will. But man, it's fun to see, and it brings back good memories for me of playing myself. You see a lot of the same things. You see some stuff that's definitely out there. But again, for instance, Weird Pete, the owner of the local gaming store, he has a monkey that he can talk to. Yeah, it's a whole thing, but you know what? It actually works. It's somehow believable, and it somehow works. So, Night of the Dinner Table. Highly, highly recommend. If you're a gamer, got a little geeky streak, and you want to get into a comic about gamers, but in a very sort of fun way in its own world, definitely check out Knights of the Dinner Table. All right, so these are 3 comics, and there's so many more, but these are just 3 I can highly recommend if you're a gamer, if you like some history, if you are a geek, whatever the case may be. Love the artwork, don't like the artwork, doesn't matter. At this point, these are just really interesting, fun stories. Nottingham is going to be much more serious, much more deep, much more pessimistic, but at the same time, fascinating look with just a different sort of, having the Sheriff of Nottingham, again, him kind of being your protagonist, your good guy, and definitely double quotes on good guy. Fascinating. Crusader, yep, that is a topic in history. Wow, it's a hot topic, right? But at the same time, here you get that sort of religious aspect, that serious, passionate part, but then he is transported to this fantasy world, and he's trying to survive, and you're seeing just sort of his short adventure. Again, this is just this comic, but still, definitely worth it. Him trying to fight the Pilgrim off, and with his little toad buddy, you can see right there. And then last, but certainly not least, my longest running sort of comic I've been a subscriber to, purchasing, and I have so much of it, Knights of the Dinner Table. You can start off with a bundle of trouble, pick volume 1, pick any of them. There's ongoing storylines, but there's a lot of standalone stuff as well. Critical Hits, compilation of it, probably a great spot. And if you're already into it, Codex of Many Tales, the hardcover here, definitely something worth picking up. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this little tangent away from direct gaming into gaming related, gaming adjacent. And as always, I appreciate a subscription. If you want to subscribe, you don't have to watch all the videos, all of them. Just watch the ones that interest you. But I always appreciate a subscription. It helps me to get more of these games and helps encourage me to make more videos. And of course, just as important, thumbs up and comment below. Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts on these. Share your thoughts on gaming-related comics or things that would be of interest to gamers. And share them below so that I and others can check them out. But until next time, everyone, later.